And welcome back to Paper Movies, a novelization book club. We're your hosts. I'm Adam, and joined by Matthew and Jeremy. So thank you all so much for joining us today. How's everyone doing today? How are you guys?
Doing fantastic.
Fantastic, yeah. Well, today we're going to be talking about the novelization to Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And it was written by, was it Campbell Scott?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's right, Campbell Scott. And so
Campbell Black.
Campbell Black, right. I was thinking about, who was that, the actor Campbell Scott? Anyway, well, so we're just going to, I'll go ahead and give the synopsis. Well, after a failed archaeological find, Indiana Jones is hired to go on a mission to look for the lost Ark, and he's he's hired to find it before the Nazis do, before they can give it to Adolf Hitler, and along the way he meets an old flame named Marion, and we find out just how good she is about not getting kidnapped or being the damsel. So. But yeah, just kind of diving into it. Like, what did you guys think of this book?
Jeremy, would you like to go ahead and start?
Yeah, I thought it was a breath of fresh air after what we read last month. The Predator.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We needed a little victory. This is the best thing we've read so far on here, I think. Yeah. I was a little worried. I had never heard of Campbell Black. And this was something someone gave me, and it just got thrown in a container for like a year. And then when Adam suggested we do Raiders of the Lost Ark, I was like, okay. It's one of the fastest reads we've done on here.
Yes. It was also like one of the smoothest. Like,
I mean, it is kind of short, but it's also like small print on a full page. So if it was printed today on a normal sized like paperback book, I have a feeling it would probably be maybe hitting 300 pages. You think?
Well, yeah, they would expand it out. They call it an expanded edition, and they wouldn't actually be expanded.
Right. It's just the font expanded to be a little bit bigger. But yeah, I agree with you. This was a fantastic read. It was smooth. It's like when you start reading, you'd like. For me, I always kind of glance ahead and like, oh man, this chapter's 30 pages. Ugh.
Yeah, but they
fly by.
Right. Yeah.
It just get sucked into the story. Like to me, the whole like chapter 1 was incredible.
Something that people should know. There's more dialogue in this than the movie. There's more telling and not showing. But it works to this book's credit because Campbell Black writes some really good dialogue in here. Also, we get to see an earlier draft of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things that have been discussed, I think by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, about Indy's alcoholism is brought up in this a little bit. His womanizing with like his students.
Yeah, I was just like
earlier draft.
I remember reading that. I was just like, oh.
Yeah, some of the stuff was a little weird with the whole his past, which we'll get.
Yeah, that's the only bad part.
Yeah, because
that's a George thing though. That's in the timeline. That's not Campbell Black. That's George Lucas.
Okay.
George Lucas had this whole outline of Indy's entire life for young Indiana Jones, and he probably had it before then, probably around Temple of Doom, because Temple of Doom is a prequel to this. Because Indy's born in like 1899, and he had his whole life outlined to the 80s. Which is weird to think about.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of confusing when you really think about the time difference and how all this stuff works out.
Yeah, there's some ties to this with Belloc. Belloc's character that
Yeah.
we're going to flush out in the Young Indiana Jones series. That we start to see little hints of it in this book.
Yeah, I noticed they were kind of going more into depth about Belloc and it was just like you get this hint that like it's like it's his goal in life is just to outwit Indiana Jones like any chance he
Steal
gets.
the stuff.
Which like kind of like to start from like chapter 1, like I said, brilliant chapter. It was action packed. It was intense. You're like sitting on the edge of your seat, like all the stuff that's going on. Like I was glued to the pages as we're going through. Like we're in South America, right? Going to some ancient pyramid or temple that's out in the
Aztec temple. I think.
out in the forest. He's got to try to find this golden idol, and like the guys that he's with, his what do you call them? His guides, or he doesn't trust them at all, and some of them get scared. They flee. The other guy, he betrays them. But I love how intense it was, because like I forgot, like with this paper movie stuff. Let's be clear, a lot of the movies I haven't seen that I'm going to be reading. I did see Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay, can't remember a thing about it. Even reading it, I'm like, I don't remember any of this stuff. So it was like a fresh in my brain, like first experience, pretty much, and it was incredible. I loved it. And the little twist at the end of chapter 1 when Jones, he's like, oh yeah, Jones, he got it. Then that Belloc shows up, the Frenchman, and he just takes it. He's like, that's mine. And then he has all these tribal people get Jones, and Jones has to flee. And that's when we get into where his arch nemesis, it's not just Belloc, but snakes, is when he gets on that escape, his airplane to fly him out. There's a snake on the plane. And he's like, snakes. So we get that little nice little fun thing that pays off in the end of the book as well, too, when he's
in the Well of Souls.
Right. It's just full of snakes. Yeah.
Yeah, I was more annoyed with Belloc in this novel than I was in the film, because like in the film, like he's not as emphasized, I guess is the proper term for it, but it's just like it's like he's just waiting, like Indiana Jones should be out in 3, 2, 1, like, okay, here he is, okay, I'm gonna take that, thank you, I know you just did all the hard work and almost died like 4 times, but I'm gonna take that, bye-bye.
Yeah, he's a jerk. He's letting Jones do the hard work in chapter 1 and in the end.
In my opinion, the movie of Raiders, it's one flaw. Aside from there be a little bad special effects in Raiders. Raiders has the best effects of all the movies, which is weird because it's the oldest. But the antagonists in the movie are very one-dimensional. In the book, they're very flushed out. With the first half of the book, odd chapters will be about what Indy's doing, even chapters what the Nazis are doing, and their steps to get the Ark. And I really liked that. It made it like a race to get the Ark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of going off that, the villains. I was gonna say, like, I was a little bit more intimidated by the Nazi Tote.
Yeah,
I was more intimidated by him in this book than I was in the film. Like, because it was just. I mean, I was just reading about like how he was like, trying to intimidate Mary, and like part of me, I'm just like, ooh,
Yeah. Yeah. To me, that Belloc, he was such a creep.
Oh, yeah.
Like just the way that he was always there. Like after Jones does the work, he's like, that's mine, but with a French, oui, 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 that's mine. No, but then he was also, the way he treated Marion was really creepy.
Oh yeah,
there was like this weird sexual tension that just came out of nowhere in the book. You're like, wait,
because they took. I think that was in the early screenplay, and Steven Spielberg changed it to the drinking contest, because notice how she has the drinking contest in the book, and then it doesn't go anywhere. There's no payoff. But in the movie, she has a drinking contest with Belloc, and then she finds out that he's a wino, and it's his vineyard that they're drinking.
Really?
Fun thing in the movie, yeah.
Huh.
A totally different scene, and he's more sympathetic towards her in the movie than he is in the book. In the book, he's straight up manipulating her, and he's like putting the moves on her, and he's like, they'll kill you and they'll torture you if you don't give them what they want.
And at the end, he's like, at the end of the book, he's like reflecting on the way he treated her. He's like, I don't know, why did I treat her with any sort of respect? She's nothing to me.
Well, yeah, because the Ark's taking over.
Yeah,
being corrupted by the power.
Yeah, he definitely was obsessed with that power.
I was going to mention that going back to something Jeremy said about the effects and everything. That was like one of the things that I was like, they didn't really touch on too much in the book. It was just like, it just mentioned that like briefly, like, oh, and the Nazis and Bellic, or like the Nazis, like, all turned to skeletons, like just like that. But like in the movie, like it's like
it's a like, stop motion effect. It's basically every trick in the book at the time.
But it's like very emphasized in the movie, but in the book it's just like, oh yeah, and that happened.
Yeah, so which is funny that you did the snap, because like the way I imagined this happening was kind of like how they did it with that Endgame, the Avengers Endgame, was when everybody just started turning to dust. It's kind of like how I envisioned in this book when everybody started to die. Like the power of God was released, and everybody just starts to, their eyes just fall out of their face, and then they just get dusted pretty much.
Still nasty.
It was disturbing. It was terrifying hearing what happened.
I mean, in the movie it's more disgusting in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where they just melt, and it's just layers upon layers of makeup, and as their faces like just melt, and then their heads explode.
Yeah.
It's a really cool effect. There was actually an issue of Star Wars Insider that explained how that effect was made. Now I became not afraid of that because that scared the bejesus out of me as a small child. Yeah. I watched Raiders and Last Crusade a whole lot as a kid. I didn't see Temple of Doom until I was like 14 because my parents just hate that one. We owned it on VHS and just never watched it. But because they were completionists, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the book, the creepiest stuff that I found in the whole book, like creepier than Belloc, creepier than the Nazis, was Indiana Jones himself and his affair with a 15-year. Was she 15?
It was 15. So I had always assumed, because she said in the movie she says she was a child. I assumed she was 18, and because I knew he was like in his late, he had to have been in like 28, like they said in the book. And because like he was friends with her father, but he was also like her father's protege, so he had to be like
a little older. Yeah,
but 15.
Yeah, I was kind of like grossed out by that part because
I was
doing the same thing. I was thinking like, okay, well maybe she was 15 and maybe he was like 17, 18. But then,
then you find out it's like, oh wait, he's actually a doctor and a teacher, and
and it was like, ooh, I think that's called rape.
Yeah, that's statutory.
So that's the creepiest part about the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know why we needed to get into that. Like it was a bit TMI, and they dwell on that.
Yeah,
quite a bit in the middle of the book.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's a woman now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have said that once.
Yeah, and there's a little creep, like that scene where he like goes when they're staying at his buddy's house. Oh man, what was his name?
Oh,
Imam? No, not Imam. The other guy. Crap, he has a bunch of kids.
John Rhys Davies' character.
He has a whole bunch of kids.
Sala.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. They're at his place, and she's like sleeping, and then Indiana Jones creeps into her room, and he like sits on her bed, and he's like, "Oh, she's a woman now. Do I like this? What am I doing? Why am I here?" It has that little moment, and then she wakes up. I think she wakes up, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
He was already awake. And
she's
then
like,
denies him.
Yeah, and he's like, "All right." He just like leaves,
I can't remember this from the film, but I remember this part happening in the film, but not what you were talking about. But you're mentioning Sala. Like I think the book was kind of, going into what that scene when Belloc has, Indiana Jones like surrounded at gunpoint, and then all of Sala's kids just rush in there and just like wrap around him and protect him and everything like that. And I think I remember them mentioning that Sala told the kids to do that. Like, you sent your kids in there?
Oh yeah.
Well, he has 11 of them. He has some to spare.
Probably sending in all the bad ones.
Oh my gosh, that's bad.
Just get in there and hope you don't get a bullet. So
but bad. I'm just like, and I read that, I'm just like, wait, you actually told them to go in there and do that? Like, when there's like rifles trained on him? Like, what?
I mean, there are some parts too, like towards the end when Indiana Jones, he finds the Ark. Then he's captured. They're on this island. Belloc has the robe on, and it's like some of the stuff is kind of weird when you actually start to think about it. Okay, it's like, oh, Hitler needs the Ark of the Covenant. And he's like, well, people aren't going to like this, but there's going to be a Jewish witch ritual, and they're going to be surprised.
In the movie, a little too, where the main Nazi Dietrich is uncomfortable doing the ceremony because they're very anti-Semitic. Obviously, it's the Nazi Party, and he's like, "You don't." Belloc's whole thing is like, "We need to test this for Hitler." When it's Belloc wants the power of the Ark.
Yeah, okay. See, that's the good thing that mentions. It didn't mention why Hitler wanted it, did he? He just said it belongs to the Germany.
It's implied. They talk about it, I think, in the briefing that Hitler's just collecting these things for power purposes.
I was about to say, it wasn't about power or something.
Yeah, because I mean, in Last Crusade, they're after the Holy Grail. The Nazis get the Holy Grail, although once again, another villain is going to just take that and use it himself.
Okay, yeah, I just thought it was funny. Like, oh, don't be doing any of those Jewish ritual stuff, even though we want the Ark of the Covenant. Like weird.
And technically, it's a Christian artifact too.
Well, yeah.
I did like, though, how Indiana Jones, I believe I remember him mentioning, like, he's not a really religious person. And then, but, like, near the end, he's like, like, maybe I do believe in this stuff. And then, like, I remember, like, then talking about, like, how he was thinking, like, maybe we should close our eyes.
Yeah, because it said so on the Staff of Ra.
That's right, yeah.
That's right. That's the one thing I found a little goofy, too. I mean, the book, as much as I like it, I could pick out the flaws too if I really dig for it. In the fire, when Marion's bar is on fire, and one of the Nazis grabs
Tote grabs it and it burns his hand.
It burns into his hand, so they make a replica from the burn in his hand.
Which also, well, that's in the movie too. But I've always thought, how did his arm not rot off?
Yeah,
before they even got there. They're in Nepal, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I thought that was a little goofy, but the story overall paid off. It was a fun story.
Yeah, it's a fun read. It's a fast-paced read.
I kind of wonder if any of the other Nazis like went up to Tote just to see if it would happen. Like, hey, Tote, high five.
Yeah, that'd be the only time he got a high five is when his hand was burned, and he's like, ah.
So.
No.
I was going to ask, like, what is, like, the one thing that you, I think we may have already mentioned it, but, like, what's the one thing that you were just, like, mostly disappointed in with the novel?
Disappointed? Nothing.
Nothing? Or, like, there's nothing that you guys, like, disliked about it at all?
Oh, I mean, the whole Marion thing, like, dwelling on the statutory.
That was, was more of a disappointment in the character.
Yeah, and it was a weird... I mean, I guess it's to show that he's flawed.
Yeah.
I guess. It's just... I think it would have been dated when this came out in 81. And it wouldn't have been okay.
Yeah.
And I think they were trying to go with it wasn't okay, but it should have just... It was already not okay that he's, like... He had a fling with his supposed, like, best friend's daughter. That's that's bad enough, and that should have just been enough there. But like the fact that she's underage, it's not okay.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. And to me, like, other than that, the character flaw and the weirdness with that was when Belloc and Marion had that moment. It just came out of nowhere, and it just got like overly sexual really fast for 2 or 3 pages. And it was like, why did this sudden shift just happen? This is weird.
Well, it was like Steve Perry started writing the novel.
Yeah, it's like he was
It's ghostwriting.
Fallon or whatever.
Yeah.
Belloc the Fallon.
In a see-through bathrobe.
Yeah. So it just got weird. That's the one thing that, like, if I really had to complain about, other than the age difference, is that weird sexual scene that happened for no reason.
Yep. Other than that, I've already mentioned, like, other than that stuff, I think the only thing was, like, you definitely, like, when you see Raiders, like, you definitely can tell this is an action movie. But when you read this book, it's definitely, like, not. Like, all the action stuff, like I said, is just, like, that. But it's more of a archaeological story. And I kind of appreciated that. But but at the same time, just, like, man, I was hoping to read more about, like how the novelization was going to get, like, address, like, all the action stuff, like, you know, ending, like, pulling a gun and, like, shooting that one guy with a sword, or, like, the being chased by the boulder. And
that was the shooting the sword. That was improv.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah, he was sick that day or something.
Yeah, it was miserable. Good chunk of the Cairo shooting.
And or
go ahead.
It's like I said, like, or the Nazis melting, everything like that was just, like, you know, very, very brief. I'm just like, well, okay. But other than that, yeah, the book I thought was, like, really, really good. It was just, like, it was very gripping too. Like, you know, it was like Matthew was mentioning, like, you know, you just picked it up, and, like, even though it was like a 30-page chapter, like, it's like you were just invested in, like, and it just went by just like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember, like, when we first picked this book, what was it, like, a couple days into it, I was like, I'm on chapter 5, and then it's like that. I was like, oh man, it was just going by so fast. And then I slacked off. I just kind of put the book down and, you know, read some other stuff real quick. But then, you know, didn't finish it today. I finished it earlier this week.
Yeah, because I read most of this in one sitting.
I mean, but it wasn't like one of those, like the Predator, you know, that we did in previous things. It was like, I'm going to put this off.
Like
this was like
Dragon Slayer. We all finished on the same day, basically.
Yeah. But even with that one, it wasn't like, I got to read this again. It was just, I don't know. But this one was fun. I enjoyed it.
I remember you sending us a message being like, yeah, I think I'm going to beat you guys this time. And I'm just like, I remember when I'm just like, done.
Yeah. I was like,
Matthew sends a message. I only have 20 pages to go, and I had like 70, and I just sat and read what was left in one sitting.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh God, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I knew you two were in bed, and I was like, you guys are probably asleep, but I finished Raiders.
Yeah, it was like that time in like a video game. You're like driving, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm in first place. And then everybody goes around you, and you're like, wait. And then you look up in the screen, and it was like, you've been lapped. You're like, wait, what? That's what it was like. No, but Campbell Black, I think he did a great job.
Yeah, I agree
with writing the story. And, you know, like I said, it's been a long time since I've seen the movie. I would like to revisit the movie, especially after reading it. You know, I don't know if I can't say if the movie's better or the book is better. I wouldn't know. But I would recommend this book for sure.
As would I.
As would I too. Now, did Campbell Black write all of them, or did he just write Raiders?
He only wrote Raiders.
That's what I was wondering. I was trying to look up the author, and
James Caan writes Temple of Doom. I know that, and he wrote Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. He did. Yeah.
And oh gosh, I can't remember who wrote the other two, but it wasn't Campbell Black.
I got a quick question for you guys. We were kind of talking a little bit about Belloc and his portrayal in this novel. I was going to ask, what did you guys think? Like, did you guys think that Harrison Ford, like, I know the book was written after, but Did you think that Campbell Black did a very good job capturing like Harrison Ford? Do you think, or did you like the movie version of Indiana Jones better than, or did you like the book better?
I thought they were about on par. They were just different to a certain extent.
I just envisioned Harrison Ford saying everything. So.
Yeah, so did I.
That kind of the same too. Yeah. So, I was just kind of curious what you guys thought about that, but yeah, I kind of thought like it's like when you read a James Bond book or something like that. You just put like Sean Connery or Daniel Craig to speak in the roles. Like, yeah, you're easily able. So what?
I don't do that at all.
Oh.
Because the Fleming books are so different. It's like a whole nother entity. Although I will say, more often than not, it's Timothy Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
If I do pick one, because his stuff, a lot of his movies, they pull all like the dark parts of those books and throw them in, like License to Kill. He disagreed with something that ate him.
But yeah, I guess what really helped though is like you see Harrison Ford on the cover, so it's like it was easy also to put his face and voice to all the words and everything. So
I think the cover's horrible. I'll be honest with you.
Oh yeah, this cover. I mean, mine's rotting off. Like every time I opened this book, part of it would fall off.
So yours is cool. You've got the 3-in-1 book though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just like, I was bound and determined to like, I didn't want to have to like search for all three of them because like I saw this at the bookstore and was like, I want that copy like right there, and I couldn't find it, so I had to actually get it ordered from a bookstore in Texas, and it took like 2 weeks, and then when I called them and tried to track it, they said like, oh wait, I'm sorry, it's still in Texas, and so the manager of the store was just like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to get one expedited to you at no additional cost. And then the day after I got this one, the bookstore called me and said, like, hey, your copy's in. I'm like, I was like somewhat tempted to go and be like, maybe I should see if I can get 2 copies of that book. Maybe we could have done like a giveaway or something.
Yeah. I'm just flipping through the book right now, and I landed on the part when Marion's in her bar and Indiana Jones shows up, and he says, hiya, Marion. That was weird to me. Hiya, Marion. I was like,
movie. He just he walks in and it's the silhouette. It's super cool, but that's like a visual thing, you know?
Yeah, and she just like punches him in the face, which was great.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, he did like after what he did and everything, like all these years apart and everything. He goes in and be like, oh, hey. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, I like the chapters. I like how it explains. It's just like the location of where they're at, which I dig.
Yeah, that was also good, except for there was 2 chapters in a row that said Cairo.
Yeah. I do want to know how they got off the island, though, after the art.
Yeah, I was wondering that, too. They glance over that in the epilogue.
Because it's just like they go to this island that's just full, like, they get there on Nazi submarines, which that part was a little goofy, too. Did he just, like, attached himself to a periscope of a submarine? And
in the book, yes. In the movie, he sneaks into the submarine before it submerges.
That would have been better.
That was idiotic.
Because like when I pictured in my head, because didn't he fall asleep too? Then he woke up. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, oh man. It's like, what if they just would have taken him under? He would have died. But I just like imagined it too. Like, oh, he attaches himself and he's so tired he passes out, and it's like this like rod sticking up out of the water. And I just pictured him like tied to it, just like, you know,
kind of like Moby, like Ahab with Moby Dick or something like that.
Flop down, just like going. His arms like in the water.
Loses his hat and his whip.
Yeah.
This is before the whole Last Crusade thing and how they were like a sacred thing to him.
Yeah. Yeah. He even says that in the end, right? He's like, I lost my favorite hat.
And my whip.
And my whip.
And we're not getting the Ark? That's a little cheesy.
That was weird.
I was actually somewhat tempted to wear the hat and whip that I had for my Halloween costume of Indiana Jones last year, but I'm just like...
That's the new policy now. Moving forward, somebody has to dress up like the character in a book. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I do love the last page.
Yeah, where it has the
exploits of Han Solo.
Yeah, of course you'd have that with the Harrison Ford.
Well, yeah, this is
Lucasfilm, so it makes sense.
Okay, I do have to ask though, like, do you guys have movie shots or pictures from the film in
No.
your copies? Yeah, because
Just
I got nothing in mine.
Yeah, which is kind of weird when you think about it. Back in these days, they usually would put.
I was very thankful
Yeah.
because every time they put those stupid pictures in, it's in the middle of a chapter and it's usually in the middle of dialogue.
Yeah. And then I told the guy he could shove, and then you're like, "What?
Picture,
Shove what?
picture.
Oh my
You know?
God, I got like 10 pages of
Yeah,
this.
and it's like the last picture's like a spoiler to the end of the book. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, crap! Why did I see that? Which happened to me already in one of our future books.
So another question. I know we're not covering it next month, but like, would you guys, even if it wasn't on paper movies, would you guys be interested to read Temple of Doom: The Last Crusade just from reading Raiders?
And Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I would read that.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I guess so, because these novels they are different than the films most of the time.
Mhm.
I think I would give that a shot. But did it come out in paperback? Because
Yes.
I've only seen hard. It did.
Yes, and it's still in print in paperback.
Really?
Yeah, I found Kingdom of the Crystal Skull like at the bookstore, and I was just like, well, I have the some other Indiana Jones books. And like I was thinking about just getting it, well, okay, it is part of the story, but so I mean, if I ever come across it, I will probably get it. But I think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull has an audiobook version, doesn't it, Jeremy?
Yes, that's an unabridged audio book.
See, but my thing is like before, like there's even like we've talked about, there's an expanded universe, or
Mhm.
as we called it, the Indiana Jones Adventures, which just many more books. And after reading this, I thought, like, man, that would be fun to get into. But then, like Adam, you mentioned, would you read the other two novels or other three novelizations? I would rather read the novelizations first before I went off and did the expanded universe books, because I would like to see how other people can write the Indiana Jones stuff.
Yeah, so that way, if the other books aren't great, then you're like, well, at least I had those,
Right, and maybe I could try one of the expanded universe books if I can find one. Maybe pick it up, read it, and see if it's worth investing in. Because all of these franchises, they have so many books, and it's like I don't know if I should dive right into it. But Indiana Jones, man.
Yeah, it's just like I found these two at the bookstores, and I was just like so excited. I was just like, I mean, they look really, really good. I mean, like, and what's funny is that these are actually longer than the novelizations themselves. So, I mean, it's just like I'm actually looking at a book that's like almost 325 pages, and I'm just like, and Raiders was like 180.
Yeah.
I mean, mine was a little different because mine's a bigger print,
Format.
but yeah, format.
That's
But
what she's-
so on a scale of, are we going to do like alphabet grading system, or on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, what would you guys rate this?
4.7 out of 5 stars.
Well, if we're doing that at a 5-star, or we're just doing our own individual.
You do your own. That's what we've done.
I give this book an A.
A.
Because I can't give it an A+ because of the rapey stuff and the weird sexualized Belloc scenes.
Yeah.
It was just not because like, oh, there's the geeks at it complaining about the sexual stuff. It was weird and it didn't fit.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why
I've read other books where it's like, this makes sense. This is organic. And this, it was like, whoa, Jones, what are you doing? And then she's like, you start to see the feelings are starting to develop with Marion. Then she's captured and she's like, oh, I want this man. I need this man. And you're like, what? This villain that's got you captured, it wants to kill you. The guys outside want to kill you, and you want this guy in a weird way? What? Just weird. It was just weird to me. That's why I get an A, not an A+. Your turn.
I said I agree. A.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that puts us at the. We're just about at 35 minutes. So, I mean, I don't know what else we can explore with this book.
I mean, the book itself was like very short. Yeah. So, I mean, like, and I think we've covered like I was expecting like, this week's episode to be a little shorter just because like, you know, like we said, Indiana, the Raiders was like a very short book. So, I mean, we all read through it pretty quickly. So, I mean, yeah, we covered pretty much most of like the topics that I felt like needed to be addressed. So,
yeah.
Can we announce the rest of the year's Paper Movies book clubs?
So there's actually a video that's coming out tomorrow.
Yes.
It's been scheduled. It releases around 10 a.m.
Yeah.
It's going to cover the rest of the year, what we've all picked out, so everybody can get a chance to get on eBay, thrift books, whatever, wherever they get their books
Audible.
from.
Some of these you can get on Audible.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That's you get the audiobook, rent the book from the library, get it on eBay, whatever. You can find these books.
Although with next month's book club, I need to put a warning out there because I've already started it. But Adam, you say what you need to say.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, we're gonna try, you know, because you know we've been helping each other try to find the books that we've been trying to read as well. Like, and you know, like I know I found a copy for Matthew and Jeremy of 1 month that we're doing. So we're gonna post links to where. We're going to do our very best to post links to where, you know, you guys can find a copy. So, and like, even if it's like, hey, you know, Audible has, you know, this audio version of it. So go check that out. And also, I was going to mention, we are planning to do a live stream watch along on this channel to Raiders of the Lost Ark. And, you know, I thought it'd be kind of fun. You know, we can like look to say like, oh, hey, that was in the book or that wasn't in the book. We're gonna post when we're planning to do that. We're still trying to work that out. So yeah, we'll be posting like when we're gonna be doing the Raiders watch along, and I believe it's on Netflix. Like all 4 of them are on Netflix.
They are.
So so it may just be me or Matthew may join. I know Jeremy said that you have a conflict this coming weekend. So but
yeah, Backpedalers, my other podcast comes back Saturday.
That's right.
Yeah, with the whole movie watch along stuff, we do like watching along the film after we do the novel discussion. It's fun. Like we're going to try to do that with each of the films that we or novels that we the paper movie. After we reread it, we like to talk about it and then watch it. Can
I interject something there, Matthew?
Yeah.
Also, during the live stream watch-alongs, like, yeah, we definitely want to know what you guys think of the novelization. Like, normally on these discussions, we like, you know, just stay on topic and we don't address, you know, the comments in the chat. Like, but we do want to know what you think. So on the live stream watch-alongs, like, definitely, you know, say what you thought, and then like as we're watching, we'd be happy to talk about what you guys thought about the books as well.
Yeah, that'll be a full-blown watch-along hangout discussion. And we've also talked. We're going to work it out to where getting questions gathered from you guys, like Q&A stuff, when it comes to these books. Eventually, in the future, we're going to work out those details and let you guys know too how we'll handle that stuff in the future, because we do want to know your opinions and all this stuff, and want to address those.
Yeah, and also stay updated with on the Facebook page and on our YouTube channel, because we're going to be posting updates about other stuff coming. So yeah,
that's right. There's also a Twitter account, Paper Movies. So check us out on Twitter. The Novelization Book Club is fun. I enjoy this. It's a great escape from the other massive franchises that we tend to sink into, such as, you know, Star Wars, 007, Predator, Alien, Adam comics for Adam, and Harry Potter, and all the other Batman stuff. So it's fun to get into these movies and explore what the original screenplay is usually like, because that's what most of these novelizations are based off of, is the screenplay.
Yeah, Jeremy, didn't you say Raiders was like this? Like there was hints of the original screenplay in this?
Yeah, like the Indies alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
The womanizing with students.
Yeah, he had a student over at his house whenever the boss came over.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier.
I mean, that's that wasn't okay.
Yeah. Some weird stuff in this book, but Campbell Black, I guess, or George Lucas, I guess, could be the blame for that.
Yeah, weird
That's
stuff, but
probably
great read.
So, can we announce next month's paper movie?
I got it next to me.
Yes.
Next month, I chose to read something a little bit different. It's a TV show, but they made a movie based off the show. Jeremy knows a little bit more about this than I do. You got the X-Files Fight the Future novelization. So this was a film, but it was based off the TV show because the TV show came first.
Mm-hmm.
So and then there's apparently a whole book series of X-Files stuff too. But, paper movies, we're going to talk about the novelization
of Fight the Future by Elizabeth Hand, author of Boba Fett books 4 through 6.
Oh, hey, Jeremy. Oh, hey, Jeremy, your favorite. It has pictures from the...
I like them, especially when they move. There is a caveat with this. There's an easy way to get this if you're into the audiobooks. If you have Audible Plus, you get this X-Files book free on there. It's missing the last 5 pages of the book in the audiobook. You are forewarned.
You know what? Maybe if you hit us up on Twitter and the direct message, I could snap pictures of the last 5 pages. I mean, if it's available in audiobook and they left that out, maybe, I'm not copying the whole book, but
also the audiobook's really bad. I know because I'm about an hour into it.
Actually, we should have like a special live stream where Matthew just reads the last
5 chapters.
Just like, okay, and today on chapter 5.
Yeah.
It's a short audiobook. It's a 4-hour audiobook.
It actually is it feels to me like I started reading this when I got done with Raiders. I picked this one up and chapter 4, Martin chapter 4. So, nice. And I saw the pictures and it ruined something for me. So,
oh yeah, you've not seen this before.
Nope, I haven't seen it. That's the thing. I'm picking most of the stuff that I'm picking. Clearly, when you see what we're announcing for tomorrow, there are some things that I have seen, but I try to pick things that I'm not too familiar with because I like experiencing these things for the first time. It's fun.
Yeah, I didn't watch The Predator before, until after I read it, and then I picked up on how
I'm so sorry
how bad it really was. I'm just like,
well, I have one closing statement.
You go for it,
Adam. You're pretty much forgiven for King of the Monsters.
Thank you.
With this thing.
It's only because I got a couple of the books for our November read for you guys.
I mean, Raiders was just a breath of fresh air.
It was. I enjoyed it. I was actually surprised because I when you picked this one in my mind, because I already had it. I have the 3 Indiana Jones books, and I thought, I guess I have it. But when I read it, I was like, okay, all right, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
There was I was gonna say a little behind the scenes thing for you guys. I was actually intending to just be like, oh, okay, I got my next 3 months picked out. I'm just gonna do the Indiana Jones trilogy, and then I think we had a meeting, and then Matthew was like, yeah, I don't want to do sequels to books too much and everything. Maybe every so often I'm just like, dang it.
Superhero film, every month is a new superhero film.
I'm just like, I was like,
no.
There is I will tease. There is a superhero film coming, but I won't say what it is. So just be sure to check out for the update tomorrow.
Oh yeah, guys, definitely check out the update tomorrow. And share this channel.
Yeah.
Check out the podcast. We've got a podcast that Jeremy uploads these episodes to on Spotify and the iTunes,
Apple Podcast, Google Play Music, and I think iHeartRadio.
That's awesome. Nice. And you did mention that this episode is not going to be up, right?
It won't be up till the weekend.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. I need time to edit.
That's good. It's fine. It's fun. I enjoy this paper movies. It's a nice escape from the norm. Well, I guess that's going to do it for Paper Movies episode 4, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
See,
Yeah. So guys, remember, pick up your copies of X-Files, Fight the Future, and stay tuned for a video update tomorrow.
and we'll see you in the future.
Goodbye.
Well, thank you guys so much. You guys have a great night.